told you it would be a shit show. It being the US presidential elections. Did say if you're not prepared for a Trump victory, you're setting yourself up for a horrible disappointment. Hello, Abigail. Poop indeed. Megaleech with a big arg. And Aussie Gun Bunny. I'm doing well. Thank you, mate. I hope you are too. And Fox, good evening. Evening, yes. And I got a text from Aidsy who says he's going to join us. So that could be anywhere from 5 minutes from now to an hour from now. We will just have to wait and see. Abigail, it has a lot in common with the 2016 election, certainly. And hello, Chris. It really says a lot about both America generally and the Democratic Party specifically, this ongoing result. And hi, Mitchell. Yes, Aussie Gun Bunny, the current thing is clusterfuck. It is rapidly turning into what I described last night as probably the worst case scenario. And if we end up with a narrow Biden victory after all the votes are counted, and Trump has already started braying that he's already won and this is stealing the election, that is some dangerous fuckery Trump is pulling there. So it remains to be seen what, if anything, will happen. To my mind, my big question is, why is Trump doing this? Is he doing this because he really wants to win the election, and so he's going to throw the country into chaos to feed his ego? Or is he actually really more than willing to accept a Biden win, but he wants to start this narrative now so he can keep doing his ego-boosting rallies and taking money from rubes? Who knows? But here we go. It's Aidsy.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, buddy. How you going?
I'm going very well. I'm so happy that the President Trump has already declared election victory.
Yeah.
That's so good, because now, that whole terrorist movement can be put in its place properly with guns, and both of them. And you can have proper cookouts with improvised fireworks. And America can be what it's always wanted it to be.
Great again.
Great again.
Yeah.
Great again.
Indeed. It's a thing.
I'm fucking stunned, because the last time a Republican president declared mission accomplished, it wasn't.
No. Also, he didn't suffer any repercussions for doing that. So.
No, he didn't, did he?
No, he did not.
He didn't suffer one.
Regardless of how stupid that was and how not true that was, there was not even the slightest blowback on him. So.
No. And it's kind of funny, because I read a little while ago that one of the guys in the FBI had given up running after Trump because you can't indict a sitting president.
Yes.
And that's strong words. Indict a sitting president, as in I've got evidence here of criminal activity to put the fucker away, but I can't move on it because he's actually in office.
That goes back to the Nixon presidency. a belief they can't prosecute a sitting president. And that's why Nixon was never impeached. He resigned because he got the word, you are literally going to lose the impeachment vote. You won't be president, which means you can be prosecuted. And so he jumped ship, and then Ford pardoned him for anything that he might be nailed for.
And then in the Frost interview, he said, because the president says it's right, it is right. And it's like, no.
That was true. I think they were the first ones who pushed that, his administration. If the president does it, it can't be against the law. That's a thing that has been, and it has no actual meaning in law. It's never been tested in court. It's just there's a concept that this is the way it goes, and people haven't been game to challenge it.
Yeah, the money involved in challenging that would be horrendous. You'd have to get the people who wrote the rules for themselves to put the money in to back it. And they usually put the presidents in. So usually, I mean, it's a fait accompli anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd just like to see Biden get up to watch the tanty Trump will have.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's I want to know what sort of tanty he has. Is he going to have a literal, I'm taking this to the Supreme Court, which is stacked with conservative justices that he thinks will take his side? Or is, like I said, I was saying just before you came on, I think another very strong possibility is he's more than willing to accept a Biden victory, but he's laying the groundwork for his grift from here on out, which is to keep having those rallies that he loves, keep taking money from rubes and just saying all the time, you all know I'm the real president. They stole it. You got to give my, and because Aussie Gun Bunny's asking, if he loses, can he run again? Yes, he could run in 2024, and he could take millions of dollars off these fucking morons saying he's using it to prepare to come back in 2024, and they would give it to him. I think that's a good possibility, that he's actually absolutely okay with a Biden victory, but he's setting up for his next big grift to fleece money out of people for years to come.
That makes a lot of sense to me, because the law states that you can't go for your third time. They changed that after Roosevelt.
This is the weird thing. I'm not sure that's actually... It must have been. It must have actually been inscribed. It was a concept. I think it was even a quote attributed to George Washington. No one should be president more than twice. I think it's by the end of his second term, he hated it.
But then they made it law after Roosevelt, because Roosevelt went 3. And Roosevelt went 3 because they kind of had to.
Yeah.
But they said, that we lucked out on Roosevelt because he had the best interests of everything at heart.
Yeah.
What if he'd have been a Hitler in disguise? Because we had a Hitler in disguise.
Yes.
We just had one of them. What if we had a Nixon? That was, in fact, Nixon was why now you need 3 thumbs on the button. Because he was so drunk so often and tried to start war so many times that Kissinger and the Joint Chiefs said, we've got to fucking do something about this. Because he'll fucking one day will wake up crispy. Because he'll get up pissed and then just start a war with Russia.
Well, he got a lot of it out of his system with like illegal bombing of Cambodia and whatnot. So he got some of his blow people up hard on satisfied. But yes, never the big one. Never the big one.
Never the big one. And Edward Teller was in his ear every 5 fucking seconds saying, we must take the Russians now. There will be nuclear war in 5 years or less. Because Edward Teller's family were Russian Jews, and they'd been slaughtered and tortured by the Russians, and he wanted revenge on Russia so badly that he was trying to foment fucking new hydrogen war with Russia for fucking decades.
Yeah, there was always someone saying it. There was always someone who thought it was winnable. Fortunately, they were a tiny, tiny, tiny minority and never convinced a president to do it. But there was always someone. Every administration had someone go, "We could do it. We'd win.
We could do it." Fucking what's his fucking name? Who was Reagan's fucking Secretary of State, Caspar Weinberger.
Yes.
Was in a cult, a Christian cult, sect, that believed that the end times were nigh, and that it was their Christian duty to bring about end times as fast as they could. And apparently Weinberger tried something like a couple of dozen times to start a war. After a while just went, no, Caspar, no, Caspar, no. Caspar, when you go over there, this is what you're going to say, and this is what you're going to bring back. And the national security had such tight rein on his ball leash that fucking he couldn't move. When he was over there, he said what he was supposed to fucking say, and that was it, and they yanked him back.
These days, that Christian cult is known as mainstream American Christianity. That end times crowd have got such a sway on public discourse these days. It's really quite freaky. That's why they support Israel, because their interpretation of Israel is in Revelations. That's where the beast will rise. So the state of Israel must exist for their glorious Armageddon to come true the way they want it to. And Israel knows that, but they're just like, you take support where you can get it. Like they know for a fact these people who are supporting them actually despise them and regard them as less than human and Christ killers. But it's all about the money and political sway, and they're like, I'm with it. So
I fucking adore getting 10% of Americans' wages every year. I'd adore that. I think that would be the best thing ever. That frightens me. No, that scares me. That scares me. I've seen proportions now that I'm not allowed around to your place anymore.
He's only about 6'1", so you and me 5'8" short asses, and there's the smug smile he's giving me as he leaves the room. Lucky I sorted him out when he was young, and he's a good lad. Because I'd have trouble with discipline now. He's 6'1". But anyway, hi nobody, by the way. And also, I noticed a lot of people. There was one particular troll who just made one line and then fucked off, I think. And I think Chris, you took the bait. I wouldn't waste time. There probably will be trolls swan in and out. Just ignore them. But I'm also not going to waste time. People are saying various things about numbers, blah. This is. I think the rational view is, with all votes counted, Biden's going to get a narrow victory. He'll have a popular vote victory and he'll have an electoral college victory. But we don't know. And this is what I said last night when I was talking about it. I said, if you don't fucking prepare yourself for a Trump victory, you're setting yourself up for horrible pain.
Pain.
Embrace the horror.
I mean, fucking even Australia is, if you read the budget papers, you'll notice that they've put extra money into cybercrime.
I know that because that's what I'm working in at the moment.
I
And
didn't
it's
know
all the
that.
stuff the government, it's all the stuff the federal government keeps saying that keeps funding jobs like mine at the moment. So, Scotty from marketing, job creator.
Yeah. Why are they funding cybercrime? Because our trading partners to the north are
Oh, yeah.
cybercriming us so much that
Yeah.
it's got to the point where look, I talked to a friend who should know these things, and he said to me there are more agents of our trading partners to the north in Australia than there are ASIO and ASIS agents in total.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
total for the world, and they're all here, basically doing whatever the fuck they want,
Yeah.
because it's not like we can catch them.
Yeah. Like
And
we observed a few years ago, China's popular culture, film stuff, for the last 20 years has been very heavy on patriotism. Repeated stories about the rest of the world has fucked us over for centuries. That might be an historical thing set hundreds of years ago, and it's always about China being great and other people fucking us over. So, yes, the actual Chinese authorities engage in cyber warfare, but they have millions more of very educated amateurs who they have whipped up into patriotic fervor over the last 2 decades. And if they just say, man, that country treated us like shit, didn't they? They go, say no more, boss. I'll take their electricity grid down.
They've shut down nations. They have
Yeah.
shut down fucking nations because the press officers said we're very unhappy with their performance, and bang, they've gone down for days.
Yeah, they will do that. They will absolutely do that.
There was some very tense moments in the in the early 2000s when China said something about Russia, and Russia was just on its way back from being
with Putin coming up,
boy, kicking in the balls because you lost the war, boy. And they were just on their way back to getting real money and real fucking teeth again. And China said something about Russia, and they shut Russia down for like a half a day. And Russia doesn't have any fucking slouches on their books in terms of cyber warfare either. They're not fucking slow. Most of them work for criminal organizations, but they're not fucking slow. And fucking there was some very fucking tense times. All down low, all very cold fucking war style. But it was the world who could understand the internet fucking breathed a little bit and went, oh, this could get bad.
Yeah.
I have to take this.
Yep, you take that.
My man.
As you take that, and I'll say hello to Kirsten. And hopefully you cheer up, Catherine. I understand. You got harassed by a crazy lady on the bus. That's not going to be good. I understand the feeling that Trump winning would just feel like the topper to a bad day. And like I said, it's a possibility you absolutely have to embrace. It might take days or longer to get a definitive answer. And in fact, there's 2 definitive answers we need. One is who actually won the election. 2 is what will Trump do if it's clearly Biden who won the election? Is he just posturing? Like, he literally said the worst thing possible tonight. He's already won. And continuing on is an attempt to steal the election. That is like the pretty much the worst thing he could be doing. Just absolutely horribly destabilizing. Oops. That's what happens when you click the wrong button. Catherine, I figured it was the same person you were talking about who harassed you. Unfortunately, sometimes there's just nothing you can do about people like that. there are just really shitty people. It's sort of a self-evident, impossible to avoid thing. You're back.
I've got to bail
You got
out
something you got to do.
for
Sorry.
about half an hour, and I'll be back.
All right. Alrighty. We
See you
wait
soon.
with bated breath, my friend.
Thank you.
All right. So AIDS's got to go out for a while. So we're just hanging here. Yes. So yeah, we live in a fucking strange world. As I said, I have the deep, troubling feeling good things don't happen anymore. Mind you, if I lived in New Zealand, I would probably think that good things occasionally happen. If I lived in Queensland, I might think the good things occasionally happen. Shieldsy, you like the T-shirt? It's a T Fury one. Yeah, David Tennant stained glass window type thing. It is a very nice design. It's a very nice design. Fletcher on Facebook, hello. Yes, Justin, this does feel like a 2020 strikes again moment, but we shall see. We shall see what happens in the coming. Look, I just want to. Oh no, he's gone. As he was putting on a very sexy face mask to go outside. He was on camera for just a second, but he's gone. But he might show us when he gets back. Who knows? So yeah. We live in weird and strange times. I should, probably have a cocktail to forget it. Not the result is in the Melbourne. The counting is not over yet. I think autocorrect might have got you there, Fletcher. Mail, yes. It is. We probably won't know the result with any degree of surety for at least days. It's very close. On balance, you'd expect Biden to have at least a narrow victory. Might end up being a reasonably sizable victory. Might end up a Trump victory. It's might end up with Trump using the fucking Supreme Court to subvert counting the actual votes. We're in a real fucking weird limbo at the moment. So we are stuck with a wait and see type of thing. See, nobody. I think it's impossible to predict with Trump. Like on the surface, he's an obvious narcissist. But I think it's also been clear since his campaign for the first time when he actually won, he didn't want to win. The whole thing was not about winning. The whole thing was about raising his public profile and making money. Winning actually threw his plans off. And yes, but see, this is why I think him getting up and saying pretty much the worst thing possible, as in, I have already won, and if they keep going, they're trying to steal the election. That means one of two things. He is going to have a massive ragey dummy spit and try and cut off vote counting, try and get the Supreme Court to cut off vote counting, which I honestly don't think would work, but who fucking knows? Or he's doing this just to set up his next script. Fletcher, you okay? Now I was here because you're on Facebook, Fletcher. Most people are on YouTube, so they won't see your comment. Fletcher said the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction over the state's elections. No. No, that's not true. You appear to have completely forgotten Bush v. Gore. That election was stolen by the Supreme Court saying to stop counting in the recount in Florida. There is abundant evidence that Gore would have won that. So the Supreme Court can indeed make rulings about stopping counting votes. Fletcher, it's really recent history. Go look up Bush v. Gore. It is incredibly recent history. You are absolutely 100% categorically wrong. Anyway, Catherine, you think the dummy spit will be funny? Be a bit funny. Yeah. I think it's possible Trump won't actually cause a huge furor if he's determined to have lost the election, but he's setting up the thing so he can just keep doing these rallies of his to say, oh, they stole the election, it's fraud, oh, fake news, blah, 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 give me money, you pathetic fucking rubes. The other thing that I think is really funny, no one has more contempt for Trump supporters than Donald Trump. He clearly thinks they're fucking morons, and he's taking them for a ride, and his con is so obvious. It's so out in the open. And they're falling for it. And you almost see Trump comes this close to laughing in their faces. He does taunt them, and he says stuff to make fun of them all the time. But it's like Trump can't believe these fucking morons are so easy to grift. And he's become somewhat addicted to the ego boosts. They like, and when I say somewhat, I mean totally addicted to the ego boost they give him. But I think he's really addicted to the grift. He's really addicted to fleecing them. So does Trump want to be a dictator? He's a big lover of authoritarians, but he doesn't have the focus or the strength of will to be a dictator. He kind of wants someone to just let him do whatever he wants, but he doesn't have the fucking focus to be an actual dictator. But he loves dictators. You can see he loves authoritarians. You see, like the way that he cozies up with Putin and Bolsonaro and Erdogan and Duterte. The sort of like the more aggressive and authoritarian a leader is, the more he likes them. So the Biden team called the Trump speech outrageous. Oh no, were they clutching their pearls, as they say it? I always said Biden is an absolutely fucking worthless candidate. The fact that they couldn't pull together a really convincing win against someone as fucking appalling as Trump is such a savage indictment of two things. It's an indictment of the Democratic Party and their complete fucking failure to compel and inspire people. And it's a pretty fucking bad indictment on an enormous chunk of the American population, quite honestly. So if you failed a test, do me, yeah, actually, keep going back. Yeah. In things like tests, failure is only temporary. The willingness to keep going, that's far more important. Yeah, Catherine, I think Australian Labor should fucking team up with the American Democrats, because they're both weak as piss, honestly. They're both such massive disappointments. Ugh. And they both think they deserve to get power just because not that guy. Now, again, as I've said multiple times, I won't hesitate to recommend voting for Labor over the Liberals, voting for the Democrats over the Republicans, because I think, yeah, the Republicans and the LNP are fucking awful. But I'm not giving Labor or the Democrats a fucking free ride when they're shit. I saw that, Safa, that the New South Wales border is probably going to be open to Victorians towards the end of November. Who's going to win? Fucking New South Wales is plague town now. 5 fucking days in a row with no cases. And New South Wales has had new cases every one of those days. So, yeah, I mean, I think because New South Wales has had this number of cases bubbling along for months now, and it's never got out of control. I think that speaks to a combination of handling it well and luck, because I don't think you get through that sort of consistent number of new cases without a bit of luck. I don't think you get through there without a lot of hard work, but I also don't think you escape an outbreak without a bit of luck on your side. Kirsten, you've already got a friend booking tickets. Safi, you can go to the family block that's 23 minutes out of the current border bubble. You haven't been there for 5 months. That's good news. That is good news. Absolutely good news. Yeah, I mean, you know, I might, you know, Christmas, New Year's, something like that. I might take a little break. Who knows? Be able to travel places. Just go to a nice place. I know this place I went to last year, actually about this time last year. No, it was Melbourne Cup weekend. Actually went there Melbourne Cup weekend last year. Place just past Geelong on the Bellarine Peninsula. That was really nice, and wouldn't mind going back there again. But we'll see. Maybe not. Who knows? So if you want to come down to Melbourne for a cocktail party, I don't think I'm going to be having people around to my house for a long time, but maybe go out somewhere in the city. You never know. I'm being a bit cautious, or maybe very cautious. Wrestling Days, how you doing, Big Pat? So, yeah, who knows? Who knows what the coming weeks and months at bars. So if you want to do cocktails at bars, yeah. If we keep going with this nice thing. Ooh, Kirsten, you highly recommend Beechworth. They have a distillery that makes cordial as well. Now I want to look that up. I'm going to look that up. Beechworth is a town in Australia. Beechworth Distillery. Bilson's Brewery, Barking Owl Distilling Company, Hurdle Creek Still Small Batch Gin Distillery. I love the alliteration. Bilson's Brewery in Beechworth. Barking Owl Distillery. Barking Owl Distilling Company, I should say. Handcrafted small batch distillery. Busy preparing our Stillhouse online shop for 2020 public opening. Oh, they're not open now. Opening soon, though. Beautiful shearing shed coming back to life as a distillery and ceramic studio. That's cute. That's very cute. Hurdle Creek's also good. Let's have a look at the Hurdle Creek Distillery. Adults only. Bow chicka bow wow. That's what I think of anyway. The Hurdle Creek Still. Established 2016. Wow. So, they have Yardam Gin, Powder Monkey Gin, Aniseed Gin, a gift card, a Grain Geneva. Ooh, that sounds interesting. And a cherry gin, and a pastis, and a dark cacao. Ooh, and a yuzu. Man, they have some interesting sounding stuff. Okay, I need to check out some of their stuff. So Geneva is the old style gin. And it's a bit more like it's halfway between a grain spirit like whiskey and gin. Kirsten, you also want to go backwards in Yakandanda. Noish. Hey, Charlie, how you doing? Ooh, Kirsten, your husband loves the Grain Geneva. It sounds, yeah. They've got a few that sound interesting. The Grain Geneva. Dark cacao, a rich, dark chocolate-flavored liqueur made with organic cacao nibs, vanilla, and just a little sweetness. And a pastis. traditional French aniseed flavored aperitif made with botanical blend by native aniseed myrtle, and a limited release seasonal liqueur made with King Valley grape spirit, infused with the zest of locally picked yuzu from the mountain yuzu in Yerevan. God damn. They have a few interesting sounding things on. So Powder Monkey's Navy strength. Navy strength, 58%, which I guess is technically Navy strength. It's not really strong though. Man, there's a few interesting sounding ones. Oh, Kirsten knows distilleries. Oh, cool. Charlie had a trip to Brizzy. Had a great time. Excellent. That sounds like fun. Glad you had a good time. And for those wondering, I'm having a pineapple coconut juice tonight, and it's very yummy. Fruit juice drink with lemonade, I should say. So it's not really juice. My phone's saying exciting election. I assume you've been in the US. Exciting is an interesting choice of words. Horrifying is a word I would use, just by the by. Chris remains positive about a Biden win, which is nice. So I'm backing Chris's insight on that. It does seem the most likely outcome. But it'd be days, if not weeks, before we ever get. Well, okay, the vote counting is going to take at least days. And then if the vote counting reveals like both a popular vote and electoral college win to Biden, then the question remains, what will Trump do? Will he actually be the worst person ever or not? Chris, it was exciting for you watching Texas take ours to be called. So Texas was called for Trump, is that right? Because it didn't look like a done deal earlier. Nobody's saying 238 electoral votes to Biden, 213 to Trump, and it's 270 to win. Abigail, that is a sensible approach to take. Be cautiously optimistic, but not overly surprised if Trump wins. Big Pat, how am I today? I am fine. Yeah, I'm fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Hey, Nug, how are you doing? Good to see you. It's so fine. I think I need a drink. Actually, I need to plan. It's already Wednesday. I need to plan what cocktails I'm going to make in the live stream on Friday. And I might spread it over Friday and Saturday, because I don't have a date night this week. So I can, get fucking hammered on Friday and Saturday. Got a plan next week, 3. And interestingly, there's some big landmarks next week. So if I look on like Monday through to Sunday from the 9th to the 15th. An obvious one, November 11th, Remembrance Day. Was that the armistice as well? Armistice Day. Yeah, it is 11th. Okay, it's also Armistice Day. Remembrance Day is what we call it here, but it's the day the armistice was signed. 11 a.m., the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, the armistice was signed. So that's an obvious one. If I can think of something like if I can find a cocktail that's called Remembrance or Armistice or something like that, that's like an obvious landmark for next week. Chris, you'll be pissed off if Trump wins. We all will, man. No, you're watching the results cautiously. Yeah, it's a fucking thing, isn't it? So if you're saying the Russian State Duma election is next September, 5-year term. Wisconsin just flipped blue. Has some? Oh, okay. If Wisconsin goes to Biden, then Trump is in big trouble. It was too bad Biden didn't win Texas. First, because that would have been absolutely momentous. But second, that also would have sealed Trump's fate. If Biden had won Texas, that would have sealed Trump's fate. But Trump won it, so it kept it alive. But if they confirm Wisconsin for Biden, it's still not a done deal, but it makes life very difficult for Trump. Big Pat, my cat is good too. Thank you for inquiring, my friend. Yes, and Chris is a civil American who doesn't want a gun. That's fine. And yes, Mofo, so there are definitely shenanigans in Trump world. So, okay, I got to think. What other landmark events could I tie a drink onto next week? Okay. Jesus, next week is big for major events. The Berlin Wall came down on the 9th of November. That's Monday. Jesus, that's a big event. Difford says, have a Berlin sour. What's a Berlin sour? Kummel liqueur. Well, I don't have Kummel liqueur, and I'm not buying some for a single drink. It's a sweet liqueur. Kummel with maraschino, lemon juice, and sugar syrup. Oh, Berlin Wall's a good one, though, but I'm not doing that drink. Okay, so the 10th. What happened on the 10th? Irish coffee arrived in America on the 10th of November in 1952. Weird. I don't like Irish coffee. I don't like coffee. Oh, it's the iPod's birthday. November 10th, 2001, Apple's first iPod made its debut. Oh, Christ, and it's Windows' birthday too. On this day in 1983, a young Bill Gates unveiled a revolutionary piece of software, Windows 1.0. Loaded from 2 floppy disks, it would contain a notepad, clock, calendar, card file manager, a game, plus Windows Write, Windows Paint, and a file manager. He said file manager twice. And it was revolutionary. Most home PC users were still manually coding everything in MS-DOS and would remain so for another couple of years while Microsoft struggled to release the product. Yeah, Windows was no good till version 3.1, basically. Wow, there's lots of momentous events next week. The Berlin Wall, the iPod, Windows. I think I'll probably definitely have to do something for November 11th. What's later in the week? The 12th. Jesus. Okay. Now, what a nerdy week it is next week. The World Wide Web's birthday on the 12th of November. London-born computer scientist Tim Berners-Lee sent out a memo entitled World Wide Web, Proposal for a Hypertext Project on this day in 1990. It's the 50th fucking birthday of the World Wide Web. My God, what a nerd week. The iPod, Windows, and the web. I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to have to do a really nerdy cocktail. Ooh, it's a Friday the 13th too. Jesus, what a week. What a week. What have I missed? Abigail, did I know Minesweeper and Solitaire were included with Windows to help people to learn to use a mouse? As before then, most users have never used one. That is interesting. Sorry, did I say 50th, Catherine? It's obviously the 30th. Thank you. Yes, you're right, Safa. Microsoft didn't develop MS-DOS. They bought QDOS, which stood for Quick and Dirty Operating System. And there's also a homonym pun in the name about QDOS. Yes. And then they stole the graphical user interface from Apple. But then again, Apple stole the graphical user interface from Xerox PARC. And AZ's come back. He's back.
Hello. Hello. Thank you for letting me back on your device. I'm sorry I was gone.
That's okay.
Gone very long.
You were quite quick. Yeah. I was just looking up, notable events next week that I could maybe use.
While I was catching my breath. And I was going to say, oh, yeah, but Apple stole it from
Xerox PARC.
Xerox PARC. I've got to get this. Excuse me.
All right, go, buddy.
Hey, my man.
Yeah, looks like AZ's quick little chore might not be done. Oh, my God. Sorry. Should I laugh at that? I think I should. Annette saying, Republican David Andel, who died from COVID-19 on October, has been elected to the North Dakota House of Representatives. Must have been... It wasn't too late to get his name off the fucking ballot if he died in October. Oh, wait. No, maybe it was, actually. Shit. Depends when in October. But yeah, there's actually a very simple rule for that in that his party just get to nominate who takes his place. It's kind of weird and funny. No, but you reckon the GUI, graphical user interface, is a complicated story. Gates used to work for Jobs before he went off to do Microsoft. Oh, who knows? Jobs stole everything that he was famous for anyway. But anyway, ultimately, we all won. I agree, Annette. That is a perfect 2020 story. The guy, a dead guy getting elected. But what's happening, buddy? Do you have to go out again?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm here with you.
You are?
I'm doing some things behind the camera. When I say behind the camera, I mean not pointing at me, but like this. And I'm still going to be able to talk to you like that.
All right.
That looks like a fucking squid, doesn't it? Indeed. It looks like a Republican. But I've had some dealings. They've been difficult.
Fair. Yeah.
And they've been a little bit fucking rude, to be quite frank.
All right.
And I've had to settle the last of it right now. Okay, here we go. Beautiful. Good. Okay.
Milk My Mantis is asking if you read it rightly, the voting map stays the same. Trump won. It will be days before anyone knows basically who won the popular vote and in the state by state who won the appropriate states to get the most electoral college votes. Anyone who says otherwise is talking shit. They're just guessing. It'll be days before we have anything like a definitive answer. So, yes. And that you drank a lot yesterday. Oh, well, I don't want to lead you astray, but I was about to make a drink now. I'm trying to think, for themes next week, I think I need to come up with a really nerdy cocktail because there's so many nerdy things. There's the first anniversary of the first iPod, anniversary of Windows 1.0, and the anniversary of the World Wide Web, all in the same week.
When was the World Wide Web born? What?
1990. Tim Berners-Lee published a memo called World Wide Web, a Hypertext Project.
So it's 30 years old.
Yeah, 30 years, exactly.
Shit.
So,
Shit. Wow.
I declare next week Nerd Week with anniversaries for the iPod, Windows, and the web. Yes, Abigail, you are a big fan of nerdy things, and you are, in fact, a nerdy thing. This is true. Oh, Charlie got wasted yesterday too. Okay, we're all confessing getting wasted yesterday. I didn't. No, I didn't make a drink on the live stream, didn't I? What did I make on the live? Oh, I was whiskey tasting last night because I happened to look in the bottle shop next to the Coles when I was in a Coles, and they had this like upmarket American bourbon for $30 off, and 100 proof bourbon. And I didn't have any bourbon. I have some Australian whiskies and an American rye and an Irish whiskey, but I don't have any bourbons. So I thought, that big a special, I'm a getting one. And I did taste tests on the live stream last night. It's pretty good. And I made an old fashioned with it, which was real good. And then friend Sarah came over and you did cocktails for the Melbourne Cup. Yep, that's a good way to get drunk. Make your own cocktails. And Charlie, you somehow stayed upright in your big platform heels. There you go.
Nice work, Charlie.
Yeah,
I did
that. Yeah, I did not.
Upright in platform heels while I was pissed out of my mind, and stayed upright in platform heels while I was on enhancements. That was harder, but I did it, and I would never want to do it again.
No.
I was a lot fitter and had big calf muscles back then. I could just really jam him into the ground.
You had the strength.
With my stiletto.
Yeah. Safa's asking if I had a hangover from bourbon. I don't want to say anything that sounds overly macho and whatnot, but I'm not going to get hangover or sick from one bourbon. I mean, it was a double shot in the old fashioned. So it was like two. Okay. And it's 100 proof bourbon. So it was at least 2 or 3 standard drinks, I suppose. So I wouldn't have driven a car after drinking it.
The higher the proof the bourbon, the less preservatives and stuff they've got to put in it, the cleaner it is, the less likely you're going to get a hangover. It's
practically health food. Practically health food.
And if it's shared, it's not even fattening.
Yeah.
If it's shared, you've cut the calories in half.
Yeah.
And half again. So often it gets into negative calories. Often you're exercising by drinking very high proof spirits with people.
Ooh. Chris is saying Oregon just voted to decriminalize all drugs. I'm very intrigued as to exactly how that law will work. I assume that just means possession of a certain amount is not a criminal offense. Whereas selling will still be a criminal offence, and having saleable amounts.
If you come to a country with 4 planes loads worth coke, they're going to go, no.
Yeah.
But if you get stopped by the dogs with a bag of grass and a bag of coke and a couple of eckies, they're going to go, all right, well, you can leave your car here for a start.
Yeah.
And have you got plenty to drink? Have you got plenty to drink?
Yes.
And you can give me your keys.
Yeah.
And you can come by the cop station at the end of the festival and you can ask for there's a warrant. And Canberra's funny like that because they go around on a Friday and a Saturday night and they pick up the kids. You've been smoking? Well, I'll have your keys. You can pick them up from here's my number. When you want to go home, you give me a call. You're not driving home. And, hilarious. Any other state, they'd be going, and Canberra's like, no. As long as you're getting the bus. Sometimes they'll even say, move your car round to this car park because you won't get fined in the morning. You can pick up your car in the morning, you're taking the bus home or getting a cab. And the government was thinking about subsidising cabs for people who said, I'm too stoned to drive.
Yeah.
But it didn't go through.
Huh. Anyway, in my quest to have themed cocktails next week, there is actually some agreement on the recipe for one called an armistice cocktail, because it's Armistice Day next week, November 11th. And it sounds okay. It's Rittenhouse rye, which I have, a dry vermouth, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and a couple of dashes of bitters. That's like it's kind of like a Manhattan that's having some casual sex with a few exotic types it's met. So if it was just the rye and the vermouth, you'd be looking at a Manhattan. But the herbal green chartreuse and the somewhat sweet maraschino liqueur, it's like having a bit of it's a Manhattan having a bit of a frisky party, really. But sounds like
where everything comes together in peace, and one more until the wife gets home. Eh?
Yeah. And Annette, yes, I also get Armistice Day by Midnight Oil stuck in my head every time I say Armistice Day. But yes.
You know, I reckon The Forgotten Years is a very fucking underrated war song.
That is a really good one from their later career. Sort of probably slightly past their peak, but that was a good song.
That was a good song. It was a good song, and it said all the right things about the right people.
Yeah.
You know,
These should not be forgotten.
Glorious. It says, this is what you've done for us. And you did it, and thank you.
Yeah.
And it's a good song, but it's just ignored now. It's not an anthem. It's not a war song. It's not an anti-war song, you know? Oh, well.
Oh, of course, I wanted nerdy cocktails for Nerd Week next week, and they've all these ones that are rimmed with nerds, like, you know, the lollies nerds, like, you know, you get sugar rim things, like, no, let's rim it with nerds. Okay, yes, why not?
Call it a swirly.
Oh, here we go. Oh, fucking Pinterest, though. I hate Pinterest. I can never find the fucking things. 13 wonderfully geeky cocktails. But, I mean, where is it? Blades. See, how the fuck does Pinterest even work, for fuck's sake? Because...
Does anyone know? Dear me, does anybody know? How does a hippopotamus go as the winter's there? Oh,
fuck you, Pinterest. I hate Pinterest so fucking much. All right.
Fuck you, Pinterest, and you're there with your UI up your ass. Dear me,
child.
Anybody know? As we just get out and just get all day. Go, crafters!
Okay, I like that. Ooh, old-fashioned merging. No. Okay, this Abigail always talked about we should make a Romulan ale, because that's that could be any. It's clearly not an ale. It's clearly a spirit. Same as Klingon blood wine is clearly not a wine. It's clearly a distilled spirit. This one's where are we? They've got a Romulan ale fizz, gin, curacao, because Romulan ale's got to be blue. Simple syrup, lemon juice. Okay, topped with tonic water and an egg white because you want to make a fizz.
Okay, I suppose you do.
Yeah, I don't know. Toss a coin for The Witcher. I'm not particularly inspired by those ones. Okay, sci-fi.com has nerd cocktails as well. See if any of these sound good. Oh, yeah, of course, a Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, but I've always had my go of Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster. Oh, right. An awesome mixed drink as opposed to a Awesome mixtape from Guardians of the Galaxy. Warp core sex on the beach. Okay. Oh, right. It's not actually giving the fucking recipes. Okay. I like a Sazerac. They've got a Sarlacc Zerac. Orange wedge. Sugar cube. No, I'm not feeling this one either. So it's not a good thing. No, that's Gizmodo. I already looked at that. 10 cocktail recipe books for geeks. That's us, really. You know, the geeky chef. Okay, these are actually just ads for books. Okay, I'm expressing disappointment so far, but that's all right. So what are we saying about? Oh, actually, Chris just raised a good point. That whole thing about decriminalizing drugs, the cops who just love beating up on black folks and say, you know, I smelled weed on him, won't be able to use that as an excuse anymore. Yeah, they're going to hate that. They're absolutely going to hate that.
Well, I mean, they'll probably just switch the excuse to I had to beat up on him because he was black.
They seem to get away with it, basically.
Yeah. I was fucking stunned when I first heard of the Black Lives Matter, you know, movement and, you know, how many fucking people had been fucking just killed. And then I saw a few on the YouTubes of people just getting fucking killed. And then I heard stats like, oh no, this happens 3 times a week, every week, all the time. And there are no indictments. It is proved that these guys were doing nothing wrong. They were either on the ground or prone or surrendered and witnesses, often filmed, and they just fucking got blown away. And I've gone, oh, that's fucked. And you know, there won't be many cops in jail. There are no cops in jail.
No, they have. Oh God, I bet Chris knows the word. There's a phrase they have. I can't remember it, but it's a thing that basically says cops will almost never be prosecuted for breaking the law while doing their job, as in, you know, murdering someone. Qualified immunity. It's called qualified immunity. It's not 100%. Like, some cops do actually get convicted when they kill someone. Very tiny number, considering the cops kill thousands of people, and a decent chunk of those are not righteous, and they almost never get prosecuted, let alone convicted. But they do sometimes. But yes, this thing called qualified immunity means it's basically like, in most cases, they're saying you can't prosecute cops for doing stuff in the line of duty. And it's, of course, a shit show. It just means the cops are murdering people, beating people up, stealing from people. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, look, when you've got a system when you're electing your policemen.
Yes. Oh, my God. That is the weirdest fucking shit.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, elect me and I won't arrest you on some certain fucking things.
Yeah.
Is clearly the conflict of interest that begs. What do you say in your campaign? You know, for law and order. Well, I don't want law and order. I want my marijuana farm to grow prosperous. So if I talk to Sheriff Biggles, Sheriff Biggles, if I can get my workers to vote for you, do you reckon you could overlook Paddock's 5 and 8? I reckon we could work something out for a consideration. Well, I'll support your campaign fund. How's that? To the tune of 80,000. Yep. Okay. Got a deal. I mean, come on. It screams conflict of interest. It's scream, and these individuals are expected to carry on a secondary business while they're in the employ of the police, because it's the land of opportunity. US service personnel, police, armed services are more than allowed to start another business while they're serving. And here, of course, you'd get your balls cut off and stuffed down your throat, and they'd put bets on whether you bled to death or choked. But no, there, because it's the land of, opportunity in business, you're expected to. And of course, the fucking access to information you've got, the fucking contacts you've got, the unlevel playing field is so outrageous that is there a check and balance? I can't see it, but is there anything that fucking stops them using their insider knowledge to? Because that's what they do. That's the fucking businesses they go into.
Yeah.
Fucking how many ex-soldiers become fucking arms dealers?
Well.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I happen to know where they're made. Oh, isn't that a classified location? Don't worry about that, mate.
Don't worry about it, mate.
Said in an American accent with American idioms.
Yeah.
This is the story of a lovely lady who had 3 lovely daughters of her own. One of them was in curls, and one of them had a smashed nose. Marsha.
No,
Did I do the song right?
That went sideways.
I did the song right, didn't I?
That's how they sang it. Marsha.
I've got to get my teeth fixed.
What's the status with the teeth?
Well, I've got to rock up to a health professional and part with over $300, which I don't have. I'm going to have it. I'm going to part with the $300. But then the next day, I'm going to get an amount back through our wonderful Medicare system. And then fucking I've got to then take some of that to the teeth people and say, please, sir, may I chew food? And they're going to say, yes.
Yeah.
As long as you pay the tithe. Which is less than most religions. And it's fucking weird. They're fucking a healing church that doesn't cost much. And they actually heal you. And the first time I went in, I thought this is going to cost a fortune and be 5-6 weeks without teeth. And he said, it's going to take a while. I went, oh, okay. And it's going to cost $23. Okay.
Yeah.
And, you already paid that this year? Yeah. Oh, don't worry about it then. And you'll have to come back a bit later. Okay. 3 o'clock this afternoon. Okay. I'll be here. And sure enough, fucking zip bap. I was there. My teeth were done. I thought it was going to be a big drama. And so I'm hoping it's going to be the same. I'm hoping they're just going to say, yeah, you're a dick. Come back in several hours with $20.
Yeah. Well, if the only thing that's, holding you back from getting it done nowish is funds, like converse with me outside of this and, it would be arranged.
All right.
Annette wants, okay, what's tomorrow night? It's only Wednesday, isn't it? We can do an angry
Wednesday day.
What?
It's Wednesday today.
It's Wednesday today.
Shit.
Did you have to do something on Wednesday?
No, it's okay.
Okay.
Thursday next week, fucking end times.
Okay.
The angel's going to blow a trumpet, and I'm going to be up at fucking 6 talking to a grumpy carer who's going to drive me around town. And that's when I was saying I was going to have to go and pay these people, wait for it to come back in, get the money, then go into the teeth people and then get them to do the teeth. So that's next Thursday. So today week.
Okay.
And you just said it's Wednesday now, and I thought, fuck, I haven't rung the carer to say you've got to be at my place at 7 o'clock in the morning in your car. Winner.
Okay.
Which means he's going to get up at 4.
Ew.
Won't he be happy with me? And
Probably.
I haven't set it up with him, but I talked to my psychiatrist today.
Okay, how did that go?
Didn't go very well at all.
Oh.
My psychiatrist asked some very awkward questions about some things I didn't want him to ask me about.
Oof.
Okay. And he was also a bit miffed at me for not taking more care of his brain. Basically, he was unimpressed that I had poisoned it.
Yes.
And he was unimpressed that I was taking more than my allotted share of the drugs. And I said, nay, sir, nay. I have taken my allotted share of the drugs. You and a certain little boss of the house made fucking sure of that, didn't you? And I have been following the packets very closely, because if I don't, bad things happen. And I said, nay. And he said, no, I've been watching your benzo pickups on the National Register, which works better than the codeine register, by the way. Just thought I'd let you know. It's actually real, and everyone can see it. And if you just care to type in the name, bang, there it is. And he said, you said that you hadn't picked up any from the other doctor. And I went, well, I didn't. And he said, but you've been dispensed on this day. So what's that telling me? And I'm going, that's telling me I've been dispensed on this day. And I'm going, hang on, we're on a phoner. I'm right here. I can look at my tablets box and tell you if there's any here, if I picked them up. So, I'm pretty confident that da-da-da-da-da. Oh, hello. Oh, look at that. There happens to be a full box of what you just said. Oh, right. Well, clearly, I did pick them up. And he said, well, you're not supposed to be doing that. And I said, well, they give me this sheaf of papers, and then they say, go down the chemist, and I hand them over a bloody phone book of papers, and then they hand me back a basket full of boxes, and they charge me half my pension, and then I go away. And then, who reads boxes when, it's bugging. I got 3 doctors and 1 chemist, and they're all supposed to know what's going on in a hospital. And it's all come about because the hospital got the shits with me, because I poisoned myself very badly and damaged my brain and couldn't talk and walk, and was on the ground for 3 days before Jason found me.
Yeah.
Before both the house found me. And thank Christ he came over randomly, because I would have been there. I got in fucking trouble. Can you believe I got in fucking trouble from the fucking chemist for not turning up for 3 days? Where have you been? Passed out on the fucking floor, unable to move because my brain was damaged. Does that work for you? And they went, well, we're not happy. You're not happy? I could see my phone and couldn't fucking reach it. I was trying fucking to edge my fingers toward it and couldn't move. That's going to do good things to your fucking sense of security. Anyway, so fucking I'm in the shit with everybody again, angry. And
oh dear.
And I managed to get in the shit with boss of the house, because remember I got the phone called a little while ago from someone? Well, there happened to be some dealings with that individual, and those dealings went sideways, and they continued to go sideways for no shit 2 weeks. You know how last week I was very absent?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of shit was going on. and fucking things I depended on didn't happen. And
Oh dear.
right up until today, things I depended on didn't happen. And that me running away was the rudest thing in the world. And then that phone call I got was
Yeah.
rudeness piled on top of rudeness.
Oh no.
Going, oh, since I made you run away from your work, which you told me about, at 2:00 this afternoon, at 2:00 this afternoon, that I did fuck all about until you went on, and then made you go and get them. Fucking now I want you to save me some, and I'm going, no, you owe me this and more, so much more.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, so the context of all this is going on.
Yes.
And then fucking I talked to the psychiatrist, and he's fucking up me. Going, oh, you did all this and you did all that. And I'm going, well, clearly the box is full, so I didn't do nothing. But he said, well, I don't want you getting more. And I'm going, hang on a fucking minute. I think I am going to get some more, because he might fucking choose to pull the pin at any time. And I don't want to get fucking left high and dry again, because they do that to me all the time.
Right.
And I hate that. And so I'm going to tell him that next time I see him. And he's also dark on me because I owe him several $100s. So then fucking boss of the house gets fucking dark on me for using some alternatives that are off the menu from now on, and very dark. And I was dark because I didn't want to use the alternatives that are off the menu from now on. I'm sure you can guess what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And I was fucking very unhappy about it too. But I was pushed into a corner, and it was either that or fucking fall apart, which is mostly why I was fucking calling you going, no, I'm not in a place where I can function. And I tell you, man, I've got to tell you some stories, because you'll be fucking stunned at some of the behavior that's gone on and continued to go on. And I pushed back a little today, and then got one of the troubles of this individual is he'll call and expect everything done in 5 minutes. I'll call and then get ghosted for 2 days and go, you owe me lots. And oh yeah, well, I'm sorry, it couldn't happen because I had this other thing on and I had to go and do that and blah, and I'm way too cool for everything. And I'm going, well, you fucked me, and I need you to come through. Oh yeah, I promise tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, I promise tomorrow. Yeah. I'm only going to stick it in that far, and the fucking check's in the mail. I tell you. So yeah, I happily am at a place of stasis, and a much better place. The phone is giving me an ABC News notification.
Yes.
A deeply divided country and a race too close to call. This, Philip Williams writes from Washington, D.C., is the nightmare scenario.
Yeah, that's what I was saying that yesterday. The worst case scenario is a close result. It's the door is open to levels of fuckery like never seen before. It's just I think it's just fucked. So I'm still while we're talking, I'm also still looking at cocktail options, and I think this one. Oh dear, there's some funny. Oh, whoa, that's a look of shock. What have you seen?
I just read what Trump said. We did win this election, so our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud on our nation.
Yeah, as I said, he's done the worst thing possible, and I think a whole bunch of senior Republicans are either freaking out or rubbing their hands diabolically. They're either going like,
he's already saying we're going to the Supreme Court. He's already saying we're going to contest it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
He's not necessarily going to do that. Like I said, that might just be a bluster to plant the seed. So if he's declared to be the loser, he just walks out and goes on an endless fucking tour of those rallies he loves so much, and keeps getting money from rubes who are just gleefully getting ripped off by him because he says horrible things about the people they hate, and that's what they want. So it's as simple as that. I was just thinking, I'm trying to distract myself from the horror. There's
American friends of mine have said that the nation hasn't been this close to civil war for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe them, but now I do. I listened to Timmy Boo, the Distorted View podcaster, and he's a wrong, crass, dirty little fag. Good Timmy Boo, shout out. And he's pretty spot on with his satire, and he's pretty spot on with his fucking social commentary too. And fuck me, that place is imploding.
Yeah,
it's just imploding.
It's pretty bad. And I should think of another podcaster to recommend, but Robert Evans. But I noticed Noog was saying earlier, if you want to know how bad, when we're talking about the cops, if you want to know how bad the US cops are, listen to this mini series Robert Evans did on his Behind the Bastards podcast. It's about 6 episodes, and they're all like an hour and a half long. So it's a lot of content that he called Behind the Police, where he traced the history of the US police and how it's basically always been a gangster enterprise and still is a gangster enterprise. And people who think the police protect them are fucking deluding themselves. But he also did a mini series a couple of years ago now called It Could Happen Here. And because he grew up in Texas, he grew up conservative with guns and shit. And he's more recently, as a journalist, been investigating the scary end of the right-wing militias, the accelerationists, the chaos agents, the one who think collapse is inevitable. So they are going to instigate chaos just to accelerate it, because they think they'll come out on top. That's he traced it all, and he basically spends, I don't remember, it's like 6 or 8 or 10 episodes of this podcast exploring not necessarily likely, but plausible scenarios that could result in something looking very much like a civil war in America. And this is a guy who does conflict journalism. Like, he's been to civil wars in Syria and Eastern Europe and whatnot. If you want to be slightly or possibly very troubled and disconcerted, listen to It Could Happen Here, because he makes it very fucking plausible. Again, not likely as such, but plausible.
And that's as bad as you ever need it to get. Is plausible. If it gets to plausible, you've got to step back.
Yeah,
you have to step back. Yeah. You have to get both sides of your politics at its highest levels to step back and say, we've got a plausible fucking conflict here. We've got so much disparity between rich and poor. We've got so much fucking prejudice, and we've got so much fucking poverty that it can blow up real quick.
Oh yeah,
and that's your 3 elements that it takes, and they're fucking piling wood on the fire. I don't understand why they do that.
because chaos. And yeah, as Robert Evans highlights, one of the big problems is America's infrastructure is so vulnerable. It's so bad and it's so badly maintained. It has so many single points of failure that an opportunistic agent of chaos could fuck things up really quickly. Like controlling the water supply in California, third biggest economy in the world, would be easy.
Laughably easy.
Yeah.
Laughably easy.
Yeah.
I've had fucking Australian water hydrologists come back to me and say the Americans have left Southern California at the mercy of anyone with a bag of decent toxins.
Yeah. Yeah. Or some dynamite to blow up a couple pipes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's real bad. It's really bad.
It's real bad.
I know nobody's saying he'll give those podcasts a miss because of general anxiety disorder. Yeah, dude, in all honesty, probably not for you. Probably would not help with your worldview and whatnot, because, yeah, his podcasts go into some dark territory. Pugwash, what's plotting, my brother? Well, the big D is plotting, from what we can tell. But, yeah. Yeah, that is a good question, Annette. Who would benefit if Trump caused or inspired terrorist activity for a protracted period of time?
Okay. Well, 3 people immediately would benefit. The first people to benefit would be the arms systems designers industry. The second people to benefit would be American industry, because American outside economy would stop, and the world would go into insta-recession, basically giving America a free ride, because America's tax on oil would basically climb. And no one could afford to energize themselves without paying off America, and they would coast the oil tax back into preeminence, and basically make those commies wear it good.
Yeah,
and so that protracted level of expendable death. And this is the thing too. Remember that America has expended over 200,000 of its citizens, pretty much unnecessarily, because they're expendable. If you can't figure out you're expendable with those numbers, you've got the best healthcare system in the world, and they let 200,000 people die.
Yeah, but they fucking love it. One of the things, one of the interviews, doing Vox Pops, people on the street, with a Trump supporter who was very excited because they feel like things look positive for Trump winning. And it's going to be great because our country will open up again. It's like, and this was an older woman, and I'm like, you're the one who's going to fucking die. It's just like the disconnect from, and it is a literal disconnect from reality that has these people embrace fucking chaos like this is wild.
Or crowd culling of the expendable.
Yeah.
And the thing that shits me is that if you can afford the proper ventilator treatment, then you will fucking survive. They will keep you alive long enough so that you'll beat the disease.
Yeah, but you look around the world and it's like at a certain point, hospitals are overrun and they say, okay, we're not treating anyone over 85 now. Not putting them in intensive care, not treating them.
Not treating
and it's just like, sorry, we're just pushing your wheelchair back out in the street pretending we can't see you. And intensive care beds fill up. And as soon as intensive care beds are full, the mortality rate shoots up. Like it should properly managed that a death toll should be less than 1%. But we're not seeing properly managed in so much of the Northern Hemisphere at the moment. So,
why? I don't understand why. And I don't understand why freedom-loving America wants its primary freedom of life, allows it to be taken off it by going, I don't want to wear a mask. Because, okay, the mentality is pretty simple, right? Here we understand that wearing a mask is not going to save me. It's going to save you
someone else,
from me. Okay? That's what it's for. The mask is to stop my lobbies going on you. That's why I wear the mask, so that I don't get you sick. It's my obligation to you as my fellow citizen to keep you safe. But then you go over there and culturally it's like, well, they don't work, they don't save me, so why should I bother? And it's no. If you draw your line of tribe around the stars and stripes like you fucking say you do, then you're trying to save everyone. And in fact, it's obviously they're trying to save fucking nobody. Their gun laws are all about protecting their rights, as long as they can take your primary right to survival off you, whenever they feel threatened or afraid. They feel it's fine to take your primary right off you. And it's the biggest contradiction in terms ever. And they let these 200,000 people die. They let them die. And the nation's not going fucking nuts and clawing at the White House going, get ye behind me, ye filth-ridden. He's not being torn limb from limb and he's fucking, limbs displayed at the citizens' pleasure around the country in major metropolitan posts. Is being fucking re-elected.
Yep.
The guy got in on the fucking on the face of, we're going to build a wall to keep the spics out, and the dog whistle basically is also saying, and those uppity niggers are going to get put back in their place as well.
Yeah.
And that was the whole chant. It's the whole campaign, and it was just vomitous when you heard it. But that's why nobody took it seriously. Everyone said no one's for real gonna fucking go for that. And of course, no. White America went for that big time. I had no idea how threatened they were by Obama. I had no idea. I had no idea how threatened they were by a woman. I had no idea how threatened they were. And Jesus Christ, they were threatened. And they just pulled the pin and they went, yeah. A billionaire who knows how to make money. That's what we need. We know someone who knows how to make money at your expense, people.
Yeah.
Always at your expense.
Yes. He will literally steal it from you. That's how
he made his money. He stole it from you, not other rich people. That's the other thing that blows my mind, is that they don't get this. He doesn't steal money from rich people. He gets rich people to back him, so he steals money from poor people, and the rich people get their fucking benefit, and the poor people get fucked. It's like they've got this thing about minimum wage at the moment. They wanted a minimum wage rise, and all these fucking right-wing dicks went, I started when I was a kiddie on minimum wage and worked my way up. And they said, well, right, your minimum wage was 30% higher than today's minimum wage, and the benefit package comes in at another 25%. So basically you started at roughly 40% higher than what they started at, and their minimum wage isn't going to jump until 10 years after your minimum wage jumped. So do you want to go back there and do that again? Do you want to try that again? And they were going, oh, no, you've read the figures all wrong because I'm fat and rich and I don't care.
Yeah.
And you're expendable.
I like Annette made a really good point in the chat about COVID. Like several Asian countries have handled it phenomenally well, like mind-blowingly well. And you see, like England in particular really fucked it, and America is in the process of fucking it. And I think she's right that so many of the Asian countries had experience with things like SARS, and they had the mask-wearing protocols, and they had the collectivist mindset as opposed to the individualist mindset. And I think there was a definite and it raised it. There was a definite element of us decent, advanced, clean white people won't be struck down by horrible diseases that come from dirty people. I think there was a really big element of that. Dirty foreign people get wiped out by plagues, not us. I think there's a big element of that.
There's a huge element of that. And fucking happily in Australia, we've still got enough systems in place to go, no, you're going to do as you're told. But we really have to get away from thinking that welfare state is a dirty word. We've got to get back to embracing a social capitalist culture.
Yeah,
which is what we are. We are a social capitalist culture.
Yeah,
a commonwealth. And once we get
re-embraced, the original writings on capitalism, like Adam Smith's famous book on capitalism, presumes people understand everyone has to benefit or the system will destroy itself. Adam Smith's, the original thinkers on capitalism were, capitalism is about giving benefits to everyone. I mean, his version of capitalism sounds really socialistic in modern terms because he's like, it's a closed system. If you screw up a closed system, everyone suffers. If you run a closed system to everyone's benefit, then everyone benefits. And that's just been lost.
There's an Arab in your house.
I know.
Dismiss it.
It's terrible, isn't it? Yeah.
Perfects of disapproval.
Yeah.
Down the nose of disdain.
Yeah, and I know we've got Noog and Pugwash are in the UK. Noog's bemoaning Johnson has buggered everything there, and Trump.
Hang on, Boris.
Yes.
Hang on. Are we talking Boris?
Yes. It's news to you that he's had a tiny misstep.
I couldn't. My mind is blown.
Yeah.
I wonder what he and the Queen talk about every week. I wonder if she goes, "Hello, you little shit."
I think she just rolls her eyes, just goes, "Oh, Christ."
Shall we walk in the garden and I'll do my traditional piss on you? Corgis, piss on Boris.
Yeah. I would say, like, Mr. Johnson, do you know how many prime ministers I have worked with? Do you want to guess who's the fucking worst?
Yeah.
Out of all of them. Take a guess. Take a guess. Which one I would hang if I was still allowed to do that to prime ministers? Guess. Go on. This is fun.
If I said off with his fucking head, do you think the British people would say no? Ask yourself that question while you're going home in your open-topped car. Yes, there's a reason. Now, fuck off. I'm busy. I've got regalia to polish. Wouldn't it be nice if the Queen just came out pissed one day, or if they'd given her too much of something and she'd had a glass of sherry and fucking let it go in front of the cameras?
She likes her gin, apparently.
I'll fucking tell you, there's another fucking thing. These bastards over in fucking SIs fucking think they've got fucking all taped down by fucking oil from Russia. They're selling it to fucking Christ knows who, and the French are fucking right up our ass. Oh, Navy's not allowed to go fucking anywhere, and we've got to pay for through the ass. We just finished paying off America, and now they want more fucking money for bombs that they fucking stole of us, the cunts. I would just love to see her go.
She would be a good drunk.
And really just let it go. Let 50 years of the whole of the button down shit she's had to keep.
Yes.
You know,
it's just like as people come to the she's like, step the fuck back, Philip. I'll tell everyone how you like me to roger you with a strap on. Sit the fuck down. I'm the fucking queen.
I'm the fucking queen, and you're Mr. Pegs. Now, listen. One other thing, Arabs, they're not fucking cultured. They're a mob of cunts, really. I'd really like to see the Queen fucking lose her shit, politically. Just one fucking press conference, and because of medication and sherry, and just tell the fucking truth of the crap she's had to deal with to keep that fucking country afloat. Of 80 million people who don't give a fuck and think that everything's boring and can't. There's no point to anything. But you know what's hilarious is you fucking talk to Australian comics, and to get into the British industry is impossible. They've got fucking mecha armies up the front, fucking shooting anything down, trying to get into fame and fortune. But if you go around the back door, where it says optimism, it's guarded by an open screen door. You know, the screen door that doesn't have a latch anymore, just has a spring.
One of those.
And you can often just fucking walk straight in. You're in the control room going, where'd you get in? I just walked through optimism. I just started saying optimism to people on audiences, and they love the shit out of it.
Yeah.
What the fuck's that, Nike? That's not going to fucking work. Well, I'm clearly getting paid your job.
Yeah.
So I did. It's a funny place, Britain. You know,
it is.
They've still got a large part of their empire, but they don't administer it in a way that they used to, for fear that the oiks will get too much of it. When in fact, if the oiks got enough of it, they'd be one of the industrial capitals of the fucking world. You know,
there's a lot of repressed ideas there.
Is fucking British. All this fucking Japanese fucking carburetor technology is British computers. There's fucking British technology in fucking pretty much every satellite in the sky. And, you know, if they just got the shit together and stopped fucking moaning, and started fucking building a few things with the money that they're getting in, they're raking in from the rents around the world, and just rather than just try to concentrate it to Rupert Murdoch and three of his mates, and just started to spread it to oiks, they'd fucking have a nation of shopkeepers, entrepreneurs, and fucking cash. Because their kids aren't slow either. They're getting more fucking computer degrees over there than you can poke a fucking stick at. And we are in trouble in Australia, gaming, going away from here and going to the UK. And we fucking really want to get a stick out of our ass and start getting creative with the CG kids.
Yeah, because we had some very good gaming and computer graphics startups here, and they're getting starved of funds. But just while we were talking about Betty Windsor, Annette brought up the new series of The Crown on Netflix, which is a very good show. And these coming seasons, I think there's 2 more seasons to come, are really not going to be popular with the royals because they center on Thatcher and Diana, and they are not going to be happy that they're bringing up Diana. But yes, as Annette was bringing up, they seem to be highlighting that the Queen really didn't like Thatcher. Gillian Anderson from X-Files is playing Thatcher. I've seen the trailer for it. She's got the voice and the posture and the mannerisms absolutely down pat. It's actually quite terrifying to see. So in previous seasons, it's all been, did the royals watch the crown. And of course, Phil the Greek, who's a grumpy old shit, said, "Of course I don't." But there's rumors that like
Of course they
Wheels,
fucking do it. If you're on
Wheels,
TV, fucking you watch. I'm sorry.
Wheels,
That's the way it
Wheels
goes.
has viewing nights with Grandma, and they watch it. But this one, bringing Diana in, that's going to be super fucking unpopular.
That's going to be super unpopular. Diana was a fuck up though.
I think they're going to make that quite clear that she had really significant problems.
Yeah. Now Charlie didn't help, but
no, and his whole fucking family didn't help.
But she was. The thing is, this is what interests me, right? They take these girls aside because it's not like these princes, marry the only one. That's not how that works, all right? Believe me, if you've got fucking vaginal parts and you're English and you're near a prince, you're fucking going to be using them to get hold of a prince because that is your ticket. They get taken aside and they get told, this is the job. If you cannot do the job, you can fuck off now and live a very comfortable lifestyle the way you want. If you can do the job, yes, you get all the extra benefits, but it is the job and it's the life. And fucking they get very, 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 very thoroughly trained as to the job. And the reason they get thoroughly trained is the Queen's father wasn't. The Queen's father was a naval captain. And his brother fucking abdicated, and all of a sudden the only thing he knew how to do, which was fight ships at sea, was taken off him. And then all of a sudden he had to make speeches, which he just did not want to do because he had stammers and he had fucking nerves and he fucking didn't want any of that shit. And he had to run a country during a war, and because that would suck. And he didn't know what to do. He was constantly surrounded by people who were trying to use him and abuse him, and he had to navigate all of that on his own with no idea. And the Queen said, I'm not fucking... He said, I'm not letting my fucking daughter do that. And so he made her do fucking constitutional law her entire life. And she always felt a bit provincial because she didn't have a classical education, but she had a pretty good one, and she does have half of the Da Vinci Codex, so she's done okay.
She was mainly, her education was all about constitutional law. She's one of the greatest constitutional law experts in Britain because it was you have to know this. You can't fuck up once. You have to know all the and you have gormless fucking prime ministers who do not understand constitutional law coming to you and proposing things, looking for royal assent, and you have to know.
Say no.
Yeah.
You've got to just say no, flat out. And they look at you going, you can't be political. And she's got to patiently go, this is against the Constitution. This is against this. This is against that. This is the precedent is this. The precedent is not this. And you must go the other way.
Yeah. And she's reputed to have never said, don't do that because I don't like it. But she has said on constitutional grounds, I can't give royal assent for that because... It's
and
there.
Apparently she says it's flat and straight.
Yeah, no, she just tells them. She doesn't mess around. She just goes like under the Constitution. That's when they found out. Like someone was just mentioning the Cecil Rhodes Secret Society. Some of the Queen's close relatives were seriously thinking of a fascist coup against the Labour Party, and she just had them pulled aside and said, "Get the fuck out." Like Mountbatten was, they were going to put Mountbatten as the figurehead of this fascist dictatorship, and her uncle, and just pulled them aside and said, "I found out, and I probably don't have the authority to put you in the Tower of London, but I'm fucking thinking of it." And And it's just like,
funny, isn't it? Here in Australia too, we will rely on the same system. And it is the grey-faced men in the boring suits in the civil service who whisper to one another in clubs and pubs. In Australia, it's pubs. In London, it's clubs. And they whisper to one another in halls and on telephone calls. And then they whisper in the ears of politicians and queens and say, this has gone on, and this has gone on, and this has happened, and this has happened. And it is those grey-faced men who make our fucking country go. Without them, shit would fall over really fast. Can you imagine the ego-driven dickheads trying to organise this country?
Yeah.
Our politicians. Can you imagine?
Like, I mock occasionally. You hear about career public servants, like someone who literally, some guy who's 70-something retiring now, and you find out they literally went into the public service straight out of high school, and that's where they spent. And yes, look, they were sheltered somewhat. And you go, but that is actually, and you can get in they don't do real work, but that is actually a life of public service. Yes, if you work your way up, there's lots of perks and lots of benefits, but you go out of the public service into banking, and there's 2 extra zeros on your paycheck.
You go into public service up on the in the last 3 grades. There's extra zeros on your paycheck, but they
but it takes 4
at 4 o'clock in the morning when the phone rings. Get up, get in a suit. The car is waiting. You'll be at Parliament House in 5 fucking minutes, even though you live 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
And you'll be fucking advising the fucking cabinet who is there about these things. And you know your shit, and you are to tell them immediately what to do and what not to do. Fucking DFAT is one of the best paid public service jobs in Australia, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, Gil Fuck You Wanna Stan has fucking put a reliable threat toward us, and you've got to be able to fucking call it to the people with the keys to the tanks, and they own you. Fucking you get to go on holiday to very nice places, first class, thank you very much. And then you get a phone call, your holiday is finished, but I just got here, your holiday is finished, we're at war, come home. That's it. That's it. Shit happens.
Actually, Safa made a good point when we were talking about a life of public service. That is actually Biden, and I shit on Biden all the time because I think he sucks as a candidate. But he has genuinely committed his life to public service. And for someone who has undoubtedly done a whole bunch of terrible, corrupt, and immoral things, because you're not in politics that long without doing terrible, corrupt, and immoral things, he has maintained a sort of integrity and he actually thinks public service is important. He's bound to be, a flawed and, possibly corrupt politician like all of them, but he actually believes public service is important. And he tries to do his best at it, at least most of the time, I think. I just think he sucks as a fucking presidential candidate. And apparently the voters do too, because he couldn't fucking convincingly beat Trump. Hopefully he still ends up beating Trump, but it's not going to be convincing. It's going to be, one state. It'll be, and again, I don't want to talk numbers because stuff could turn around. Like he could basically be 3 states clear of Trump and be quite a lot of electoral college votes clear of him. But
and these postals, we don't know which way they're going to vote.
Exactly. Anyone who's throwing numbers around now,
just home.
Yeah.
But fucking, if America doesn't have buyer's remorse over Trump by now, they've given up their empire.
That is just so concerning. That is so concerning that Trump could do so much so wrong and still be a red hot chance. In fact, look, I'll go back and say, if COVID hadn't happened, COVID is the only thing that's torpedoed Trump. If COVID hadn't happened, Trump would have fucking slaughtered Biden.
Yep.
He would have absolutely slaughtered him.
Yep. Because there would be no reason for the guys to take their heads out of the sand at all. And every time he says something nasty about China, they love it. And every time he says something nasty about Russia, they love it. And all the shit that he's let go that is important, that he's taken his eye off the ball. He says, "Oh, Korea, we're going to fucking hurt them." No, he's not.
No.
He's fucking. Have we heard anything about Iran and their bomb that they're going to fucking let off in Tel Aviv? No, not a fucking word. And his foreign policy is a joke.
It's just it changes on a whim because he's a bloody child.
And
he's a child with no attention span.
Joke. And he's like any dickhead corporate fuckwit. He fucking fires his cabinet the moment they say no to him.
Yeah.
It's been musical chairs in there. Every time anyone says, "No, Donald, you fuck this," they're gone. And then they go and do the stupid policy and blow another $1 trillion. And it says, and let's spend more money on fucking the military because these fucking corporate masters say you've got to. If they haven't by now, after COVID, if they haven't worked out that he was the one who didn't get the masks, he was the one who didn't fucking order them to lock down and stay safe. He was the one who called the fucking PR people before the doctors.
Yeah.
He said some shit about putting fucking UV lights in people's bodies and injecting them full of fucking cleaner.
Bleach. Yeah. Well, because he heard you can kill the coronavirus with bleach. You can kill the coronavirus with UV light. And it's like, dude, you can kill the fucking coronavirus with a flamethrower too. But it's not going to be very useful for people.
Kill it with oxygen. With
enough, But it's just weird. I have to admit, one funny thing about Trump is the way he's enraged the military and CIA just with his random whims, because he's literally just gone, well, I'm the fucking president, so I don't have to listen to anyone. And he's told, like, he's had all the Joint Chiefs of Staff around a table, and he's told them they're dumb and that's a loser idea and whatnot. And they've just had steam coming out their ears. But he just doesn't care. He's like, well, I'm the fucking president. Fuck, And I mean, that is objectively funny. And he's walked out saying he's bored. And the guy, one of the people he sacked because he eventually spoke, Rex Tillerson, who was his chief of staff or whatever, it just says to the generals, he goes, that guy's a fucking moron. We've got to do something. Several people confirmed to journalists, no, Tillerson just, when Trump left the room, he just went, that guy is a fucking moron. And and Tillerson's non-denial was, I don't respond to gossip. Like, dude, if the answer was no, you would just say no. And that was actually him coded saying, yeah, of course I fucking said it. Jesus, he is a fucking moron.
Yeah. Surely to Christ, communities around America who said, oh, we need masks and we need incubators, we need fucking respirators, and didn't get them. Surely they must start to say, hang on, my grandpappy and my grandmammy died of the fucking the COVID. Yeah. Because my fucking taxes went nowhere.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you can answer that because it's bedtime.
It is bedtime. Have a good one, bro. Thank you for letting me play. Oh, it's playing tomorrow?
Yeah, if you're up for it. And as per Annette's, maybe after another day of this fucking insanity in the US, might let a bunch of people on to shout and vent, Angry Bunch style.
And you got to get back to asking AZ 2-minute questions too.
Let's do that tomorrow night. Because that's a fantastic distraction. 90-second or 2-minute Q&A. Yes, remember that for tomorrow night. All right, good night, you fabulous people. See you later. Bye.